Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It is in the description below the video. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Email me directly. My email is tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Behold, one of the greatest dive watches of the 2000s and maybe the greatest Jaeger-LeCoultre dive watch of the 21st century. It's not trying to be a vintage piece. It's not a tribute to anything. It's relentlessly modern, innovative, and up to date. It is the basis for tomorrow's classics, not an echo of yesterday's. The forward-looking JLC of the 2000s would not have had it any other way. The timepiece you see here is part of the Navy SEALs collection, and it's a 2009 model year limited edition of 1,500 pieces in grade 5 titanium. It is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Diving Alarm Navy SEALs. On my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, the watch fits, though it is large, at 44 millimeters in diameter, 16.7 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip. It is 52.7 millimeters from end link to end link, including the bracelet. The rigid distance across the wrist is 56.6 millimeters, and it has a nice broad 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. When I throw it on my wrist, you can see it really wears nicely. It's big, but that's sort of the look with aggressive sports watches. It fits very nicely. Titanium, both of case and of bracelet. It's not going to fit underneath the cuff, no, not by a long shot. But even though there is some overlap beyond the edge of my wrist, I feel like as an aggressive sports watch that is relentlessly purposeful, this is something that I could wear. If not proportionally, certainly from a utility standpoint, this one comes up aces, as it's easy to read, sensible, legible, the way a tool watch should be, and hugely functional whether you dive or not. The timepiece features what is the most sought JLC accessory of the 2000s and 2010s, which is the full vulcanized rubber bracelet. It has a conforming end link. You can see that the links are all removable, and by that I mean every single link in the bracelet can be taken out to fine-tune the size. We also have micro adjustments built in. There's about 2.5 millimeters of pull-in, pull-out, tool-free adjustment, much like the Rolex EasyLink system. You can see it's on each side of the clasp, so you have 5 millimeters total in 2.5 millimeter increments. We've got a double deploying clasp that actually features 4 total triggers, so to deploy it, you need to press all 4 of them. And in case you're wondering, what's underneath the vulcanized rubber is more grade 5 titanium. That's the way it works with JLC vulcanized rubber bracelets. If the watch is gold, the links under the rubber are gold. If the watch is titanium, the links are titanium. Tie is great. It's light, it's hypoallergenic, but the grade 5 type that you see here can be polished. That's how these bevels are achieved. It's also harder and more scratch resistant than stainless steel. The timepiece is substantial, right down to the rubber-coated caps for its twin crowns. Part of the Compressor series, Master Compressor Diving to be specific, it has a very minimal 1/2 turn unlocking mechanism, and this unlocking factor is one of the biggest selling points of the watch for me, because you could screw little tight screw down crowns and fumble with them when your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved. Here, the compressor winglets make it easy to grasp, and the color coding makes it harder to accidentally jump in the water with your crowns unlocked. White, you're tight. Red, you're dead. Very simple. And this watch achieves 300-meter water resistance with a 1/2 turn of those 2 compressor crowns. Taking a quick look at the bezel, you can see it has recesses in satin, and then the outer knurled faces are all polished. It is a super sharp and vocal 60 click. Let's hear. That's up there with the Panerai Luminor submersibles and the Doxa subs as the chunkiest and loudest and most satisfying 60-click bezels that I have encountered. This is one of the best feeling and sounding diving bezels of any description. The insert, as you can see here, is actually gray ceramic, and then we have metal inlaid. You can see it's been metallized to give it that silver sheen, and a large bezel pearl that I'm going to line up with the minute hand now and show you in the dark. Luminescence, as you can see, excellent, and all 3 hands luminescent. I like that because you know that your dive watch is functioning in the dark. You can also see that the font and the index styles have been inspired by the 1968 dial variant of the Polaris diving alarm. So little nod to history without being a retro watch. The dial features a couple of different finishes. You can see at the center, it is a less matted black than the hour track. The hour track Has a pronounced matte frosting that makes for excellent contrast against the luminescent material. We have a alarm system that is based on a central disc controlled by the crown up at 2 o'clock. So you see how I pull the crown out now. By turning clockwise, I can adjust the date, and by turning in the opposite direction, I can set the alarm. If I want to set the time, I go to the crown down at the base, pull it out. Notice hacking seconds stops the seconds hand, so you can set the watch to a reference time. On the reverse of the watch, because this was part of the Navy SEALs collection, you could see the image of the U.S. Navy SEALs warfare device, an eagle on an anchor with a gun and a trident. It was like they're like, okay, let's take everything awesome and put it in one place. The movement has been through the Master 1000 hours control, automatic winding with a 45-hour power reserve. It uses unidirectional winding for greater efficiency and efficacy than a bidirectional system. Ceramic bearings for reduced drag on the winding rotor. It's a 4 Hz beat rate. It's got the alarm function. It has the quick set date and the stop seconds function. And being free sprung, it is easy to adjust precisely and also very shock tolerant. Taking a quick look at the Master 1000 hours control, for just over 41 days, the watch as a fully assembled timepiece undergoes testing for shock resistance, water resistance, winding efficiency, power reserve, overall durability, and of course chronometry. And this watch does have a gong that hangs separate from the case, which is how it achieves that loud singing, sustaining ring, as opposed to the cricket-like rattle generally associated with alarm watches. If you love this diving Memovox in the Navy SEALs style, reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.